seen me. I was never kinder to the old man the whole week before I killed him. And every night, just at midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it, oh, so gently. And then when I had made an opening sufficient enough for my head, I put in a lantern all closed so that no light shone through, and then I thrust in my head. And then when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern cautiously. Oh, so cautiously I undid it so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture's eye. This I did for 7 long nights, but at last I found the eye was closed. So it was impossible to do the work, for it was not the old man who vexed me, but his evil eye. And every morning I walked boldly into the chamber, addressing the old man by name and inquiring how he had spent the night. So you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed to suspect that every night just at midnight I looked upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night I was more than usually cautious in the opening of the door. Never before had I felt the true extent of my powers, of my sagacity. I fairly chuckled at the thought, and perhaps he heard me, for he stirred suddenly in the bed as if startled. Now you may think I drew back, but no. The room was black as pitch in the thick darkness, so I knew he could not see the opening of the door, and I kept pushing on it, steadily, steadily. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped on the tin fastening, and the old man sprang up in bed, crying out, "Who's there?" For a whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in bed listening, just as I had done, night after night. When I had waited a long time, I resolved to open a little, a very, very little crevice in the lantern, so I opened it until at length a simple dim ray like the thread of a spider shot from the crevice of the lantern and fell full upon the vulture's. It was open, wide, wide open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue with a hideous veil that chilled the very marrow of my bones. But I saw nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had shown the ray as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. Now I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, sound, as a sound a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I knew the sound well. It was the beating of the old man's heart. It increased my fury, the way the beating of a drum stimulates a soldier to courage. And yet I refrained and kept very still. I scarcely breathed. I held the lantern motionless. Meantime, the hellish tattoo of the old man's heart increased. It grew quicker and quicker and louder and louder. His terror must have been extreme. It grew louder, I say, louder. Do you mark me well when I say I am nervous? So I am. It grew louder, louder, louder. I thought his heart may burst, and now a new anxiety seized me. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leaped into the room. I dragged the old man onto the floor, pulled the heavy bed over him. For many moments, the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard through the wall. At length it ceased. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. I placed my hand over his heart for many minutes. There was no pulsation. The man was stone dead. His eye would trouble me no more. You still think me mad. You would think so no longer when I described to you the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. I pulled up 3 planks from the floorboard and deposited it all between the scaffolds. I then replaced the floorboard so cleverly, so cunningly, that no human eye, not even his, could have ever detected anything was wrong. When I had made an end to my labors, it was nearly 4 o'clock, still black as midnight. As the bell sounded the hour, there came a knock at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart. For what had I to fear? In entered 3 men who introduced themselves as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard in the night. Information had been lodged at the police, and they had been deputed to search the premise. I smiled. For gentlemen, welcome. The shriek I said was my own in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. I led them all throughout the house. I led them at length to his chamber. I showed them his treasure secure, undisturbed. In the wild enthusiasm of my confidence, I pushed chairs into the room and desired the men here to rest from their fatigues, while I, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own chair upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was singularity at ease. We sat, and as I answered cheerily, they spoke of familiar things. But ere long, I wished them gone. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ear. The ringing became more distinct, and I talked more freely to get rid of the feeling, but alas, the noise increased and gained deafness until at length I realized the noise was not coming from within my own ears. No doubt I grew very pale, but what could I do? It was a low, dull, quick sound, much the sound a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I gasped for breath, and yet the officers heard it not. I arose and argued about trifles in a high key and with violent gesticulations, and yet the noise increased. Why would they not be gone? I paced the floor to and fro with heavy strides, but the noise arose over all and steadily increased. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. I took the chair on which I had been sitting and grated it upon the floorboards. But the noise arose over all and continually increased. And yet the officers still chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Almighty God, no. They heard, they suspected, they knew they were making a mockery of my horror. But anything was better than this agony. I could bear their hypocritical smiles no longer. I felt that I must scream or die. And now again, louder, villains! I shrieked. Dissemble no more, I admit the deed. Tear up the planks, here. It is the beating of his hideous heart.